she's super quirky. She's like not really into makeup or boys or like being cool. She just likes to read and, maybe play Dungeons and Dragons and just like, you know, she's just quirky and she's just not like other girls. And then, surprise, surprise, she's the love interest and gets a makeover. Okay, that last part isn't in every story, but what I'm talking about is the common trope in stories, whether they're movies, books, TV shows, the common trope of the girl who's just not like other girls. And when it's annoying is when the main character makes it like her identity. Like, but I'm just so different. Like, people don't understand me. And that's when it's super annoying. Or when it follows the predictable pattern of like, she's just not into makeup and stuff, but oh my goodness, she got a makeover and now the popular boy is in love with her. Or like she took off her glasses and now she's attractive. That's annoying, right? Like, well, maybe that's not annoying to you. It's annoying to me. It's annoying to a lot of people, so much so that if you watch videos on, booktube type channels where they're talking about books and themes, and that people are a lot of times really annoyed with these overused tropes, one of them being the girl who's not like other girls. That is annoying when it's done the wrong way. But what if it was actually true and it was not not spoken about in a prideful way? What if somebody actually experienced being socially outcast or rejected and genuinely did not understand social interactions, how to communicate effectively for the beginning chunk of their life? What about that? Like, to me, that's not annoying. That's it's sad and endearing for someone like Madeleine L'Engle. I always, ever since growing up, I always called her Madeleine L'Engle. Maybe it's Madeline, I don't know. But the author of A Wrinkle in Time. I heard about this biography and then got it from maybe Abe Books, independent bookseller. I'll link to Abe Books down below. But I believe that's where we ordered it from. But I really wanted to read this because I love, for anyone who doesn't know, she's the author of A Wrinkle in Time. And it's like sci-fi fantasy. It's meant for like middle grade age kids, but I mean, grown-ups really need to read it. It's great. If you like time travel and magic and like science, like quantum physics type science, but also you don't want to be like bored with textbook approaches. You just want some magic. Madeleine L'Engle's Wrinkle in Time series is awesome for that. So anyways, that's who she is. But the reason I'm bringing her up in a video about she's not like the other girls is because this is where I think some of those tropes come from. I think girls who had an experience either in their childhood or their adolescence of being rejected socially, or even as an adult, like, let's face it, people don't all grow up when they grow up. You know what I mean? So Madeleine L'Engle, look how happy she is. I actually kind of thought that I would like read about her and find out that she had look how she's so happy. You would never know the heartbreak that she experienced. She was born into a family. I'm going to get too far back. Just the short version of her family background, a lot of trauma in her parents' experiences, and they didn't heal from that, and then it affected her. So she had some really great, fun, happy times, and then all of a sudden, her parents took her on a drive and made it seem like, oh, we're going on a picnic. They literally dropped her off at a boarding school and left her. It's devastating. It's so sad. And so from there, it just gets worse, where the place that they left her was, I won't get into the details, but I'll just say it was sounded very traumatizing for her. And on top of that, she literally did not understand how to interact with the other girls in a way that like she could make friends or feel accepted. So my heart breaks for her. She's since passed, I think, in the early 2000s, but my heart broke for her in that happy little girl having such a difficult time. And then she does continue to experience into her, I'd say early teens to maybe mid-teens. She talks, well, I say she talks because this book is written by her granddaughters, but they use excerpts from her journal entries and things like that. She describes really struggling with not knowing how to make friends and being or feeling like she was an outcast. And I personally think she maybe had dyslexia or something because she struggled really hard in school, and her teachers were, let's just say, from her perspective, if what she wrote was accurate, they were they didn't have a lot of compassion for her struggle. And then of course she was like abandoned by her parents at a boarding school. And then how hard are you going to work on school if you're like emotionally devastated? And then she went back for like a Christmas break and was like, yay, I'm going to see my parents. I'm so excited. And they like didn't really like hug her or act like they were happy to have her back for the Christmas break. It's so devastating. But the reason I'm talking about this is because I wanted to say there are reasons where there are genuine like emotional and experiential reasons why these tropes in stories come up. And sometimes, even though it's like annoying to be like, oh, not this trope again, like I think these stories can resonate with people because real life people experience feeling like a social outcast. I've been there, not at all as intense as what she experienced at the boarding school, but let's just say junior high, not great. Can anyone relate? How was junior high for you? Meaning ages 13, 14, 15 in school. Some people had a great time. I did not. Well, 7th grade was fun, but 8th and 9th grade, let's just say I felt like a social outcast. Long story, way too much time. But and it wasn't because I didn't know how to interact with people, just the people that were there were not open to people who didn't dress cool or wear makeup and have the latest styles. Like, let's be honest, that's what it was, unfortunately. So that aside, if you're interested in Madeleine L'Engle's story, I would definitely check it out. How does it go? Well, oops. Other lessons from reading the biography of someone that I wouldn't say that I looked up to her, but I guess I kind of thought of her as like, she was probably this really great, sweet, compassionate person. That's the tricky part, right? If there's someone that you're like, I'm excited to find out about this person's personal life, and then you read things and you're like, oh dear. This is one part I will talk about. The story's written by her granddaughters. Her granddaughters got along with her beautifully. It's like, if you just focus on Madeleine L'Engle's relationship with her granddaughters, beautiful, like so touching. It made me think of my own grandparents and just like the really, really sweet and memorable, special, life-changing times of connection with my grandparents. But then if you look at like her relationship with her own children, and sometimes her own like community around her, it was actually kind of like, oh, maybe I didn't want to know that. It's like, I don't know. How do you feel? Like, let me know in the comments below. Like, do you like to find out? Like, do you read biographies of people that you're like super interested in? Like, do you want to hear the ways that they kind of like hurt or neglected the people in their life? Or do you want the real everything? Or do you just kind of want to like, just tell me the good stuff so I can feel good about this person? Or are you kind of like, hey, people aren't like black and white. It's like people have some really great parts of their lives and some not so great parts. It's just being a human. Please tell me your thoughts, because I know everybody approaches this topic differently. But here's the thing. I'm glad that I got to find out about the real her, but it was sad to hear about kind of like things between her and her kids. And again, there weren't like tons of specifics, but I could pick up on things, and I researched things while I was reading the book and after I finished the book to find more details, because there are not a ton of specifics here on things that happen between her and her kids, but you can pick up on it. I think she kind of, the traumatic things that happened to her parents that weren't healed affected her, and in turn, she experienced some difficulty and traumatic things that I don't know if she ever healed from, and then that created pain between her and her children. It's unfortunate, but you know what? I guess what we could say is it's a cautionary tale to say, like, maybe work on your stuff so it doesn't pass along to other people. It doesn't have to just be your kids. It could be nieces, nephews, just other people in your community, in your world. To me, I think that is part of the lesson, like cautionary tale to like, if there's some pain in your life, find that healing, because it makes a difference. And, but then the other thing that I mentioned before that was beautiful is the relationship between Madeleine L'Engle and her granddaughters. So I finished this book and wanted to talk about it. And the book that I am in the middle of reading right now, that I want to do a part 2 to this, it is incredible. The connections and like the, not the pros and cons, what do you call it? The contrast between the main person in the biography that I'm currently reading, that I'm going to do my next video on. It is also going to be girl who's not like the other girls, but it's going to be part 2. So keep an eye out for that, because I have not finished that book yet, but it is very interesting. The teaser I'll give you now is that like, it's seeming like these 2 different women have experienced completely different upbringings, and it's pretty clear how it affects them and their relationships and how they feel about themselves. I couldn't believe it. Like, I read this one and then moved on to the next one about the next person, and she goes to like, I don't know if I would call it a boarding school. Yeah, I think it's like a weekly boarding school. And I was like, wait, and she goes to a boarding school? But her experience is completely different. Her family life is completely different. I'm sure I'm going to have some, lessons or maybe cautionary tale. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm rambling because I have not finished it and I don't exactly know exactly what I'm going to say, but I have ideas. Anyways, all that to say, look out for the girl who's not like other girls trope part 2 video that will be coming out in the future. In the meantime, work on your stuff and healing, and maybe read about Madeleine L'Engle, or read A Wrinkle in Time, because it's a fun book. I'm pretty sure I was going to say something else. I'm forgetting it, but I'm at 14 minutes and I think that's good. So take care, everybody, and happy reading.